Hello, Kathy here. As you know, we have TV reviews over on our Patreon, and this month we've been really enjoying The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix, and we decided to do two batches talking about it, so breaking it in half, first 4 episodes and then the next 4 episodes, and we thought we'd put the first 4 on the main feed for anyone to listen to who wants to, and if you want to hear us talking about the next batch, head over to patreon.com/cinemile, where we actually have a 7-day free trial and you can listen to the next bit and unsubscribe and not even pay any money. Bye.
Your Honor, no matter how much evidence stacked against them, the Usher crime family stands stronger and darker than ever before.
Anyone comes after us, we will exhaust our arsenal until the threat's neutralized.
By neutralized, you mean sued into oblivion on the streets?
Neutralized. Like dead.
You guys, we really should get together more often. It's just a balm for the soul.
Hello, patrons.
Hello.
We are here to talk about Netflix's new show, The Fall of the House of Usher. I should say Mike Flanagan's new show.
It's the Flaniverse.
It's part of the Flaniverse, yeah, which is a thing that they try to coin and is very stupid. But for anyone who doesn't know, Mike Flanagan is the sort of a horror writer and director, has done a lot of really good quality Netflix shows. The Haunting of Hill House, which we loved.
Yeah, obsessed.
The sequel, Haunting of Bly Manor, which we did not love and didn't finish. What else? Midnight Mass, which was fantastic.
It was so good.
We loved that.
And
I'd say that's probably his best one.
The tween show that you watched.
Yeah, you fell off that. The Midnight Club, I think it was called, or something like that, which was an adaptation of a 90s sort of teen YA thing. Which was okay, I thought.
It's still good.
Still good.
Yeah.
But Mike Flanagan, also like a great horror director as well. You know, did Doctor Sleep, has done a couple of other Stephen King adaptations, I think.
I love it. He's just firmly in his niche.
Yeah.
Brilliant horror. But I think, and now we're going to go into spoilers for this. So we've received press screeners for it. We're in the middle of a binge. It hasn't come out yet, but the day it comes out, we're going to release this episode. Don't listen until you've watched the first 4 episodes, which we highly recommend.
Watching it. Go watch it, because
Yeah.
it's really good. If you like any of his other stuff, this is up there. This is top tier Flaniverse.
But also, if you don't haven't seen any of his other stuff, but you like Succession, then this is your show.
I don't know. No, I don't think that's right.
This show is Haunting of Hill House meets Succession.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you can say,
review.
if you like Succession, watch this.
I think you can.
I think there are... No, I don't think that's right. I think there are...
If you like awful rich families,
yeah,
this is your show.
There are things in here... There's elements of Succession in this. Even to the point where we were like... we feel like the music is aping Succession at points.
Also, though, it's just piano, which Succession hasn't painted.
No, but it's very similar.
It
It's
is.
like the piano, then the pause, then the strings come in. It was
Yeah.
like, well, hang on. But yeah, I think, but it is also very different to Succession. This is campier. This is gorier. It's more horror.
Mm-hmm.
It is
spooky.
horror. It's horror, thriller,
I think why
gory.
I like him though is he's like spooky horror. Like he's very much a like horror that you might tell your friends around a campfire when you're a kid, like ghost story.
Yeah.
Like it's the kind of horror I like. Actually, I really like it. It feels right to be released coming up to Halloween. We get some good jump scares out of it. There's a lot of humour in
There's
it.
a great
We're
mystery.
laughing.
There's a great mystery throughout this.
And we're on spoilers now, okay? So
Okay.
turn off if you haven't watched it, because I know all our patrons are going to really like the show.
Spoilers for the first 4 episodes.
And
of
I
The
think
Fall
there's
of the
8,
House of
so we're
Usher.
halfway through.
Yeah.
We are obsessed. We are desperate to binge this show. It's the kind of show that I want to take a day off work to just watch through.
Oh, it's a real binge, isn't it?
so good.
We haven't had a binge this good in a while. Where
Yeah.
you're just like, do you know, this show just nips along. It's so quick, fast. I don't think it's perfect. I mean, it's a little bit all over the place sometimes.
It's
like
not.
no. Come on. If one thing I will criticize it for is that they make this big deal in the first episode about there's an informant amongst us, and we're going to make, and this is in the trailer as well, and we're going to put a bounty on one of your heads, $50 million to whoever can find the person. And you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. All the siblings are going to be hunting each other. They're going to be trying to bring each other down. But then it kind of just goes in, it totally drops that. and nobody is trying to get each other or find out who
that's
the
'cause they're all
informant
dying.
is. Yeah, but no. But I'm just saying that for me is a failing of the show. They set something up and maybe they'll deliver on that in the second half. But really, it got like I thought that was going to be a key driver for the siblings and their behaviour. But it isn't. It goes straight to Prospero isn't interested in that. He just wants to set up a party. And your man just wants to kill this cat. Sorry, this criticism is minor, but it is bugging me.
No, because
overall, I'm having so much fun watching the siblings be mental and be picked off one by
But
one.
I don't think it's setting up that hunt thing. That's just an element. That's just showing us how awful their
Come on, it
their
makes a
family
big
dynamic
deal of
is.
it. It makes a big deal.
No, Dave, it makes a bigger deal of the fact that they're all killed and that the dad's
I
being
know that.
haunted. That's the setup.
I love the framing.
That's just texture as to how awful the family is and stuff.
I do love the framework of that. I'm really
love it.
every time it comes back to him in this old house telling his old
I love that
nemesis this story and these ghosts are popping up around him.
So
it's really good.
good.
And oh my god, that actor, what's his name?
The guy playing the
so,
dad.
so
I don't
good.
know him, but he is phenomenal in this. I just love
The cast is
setting.
fantastic in
The
this.
cast is incredible.
Bruce Greenwood. There he
All
is.
the siblings are incredible. This is why I feel Succession-y to me, aside from the fact of like their filthy wealth, but like I'm so interested in watching every character. There's loads of them. There's more siblings here. I think they're all very well drawn. Like I understand who they all are from the first episode. Really, they're like archetype or whatever, and they're all loathsome in their own way. And we're just kind of like waiting to see how they all die now. The first death, that son, the young son,
Horrific stuff.
horrific. And also, but I felt like he got a really good episode where we really understood his character, where like he's been given this opportunity to launch a business and he's such a loser that what was his thing again? Blowjobs in a whiskey bar.
Yeah. Glenfiddich. He had a Glenfiddich sponsorship.
Oh my god, like it was pathetic.
I
And
always
then he gets his own
admire
bar.
a show when they bring in a real life product placement for one of the characters to do something about product placement.
Yeah.
Community used to do that really well as well,
Very good.
because the show would have actually been paid by Glenfiddich.
And then it's
to
all
do that.
building up to his like orgy, and we know he's gonna die. So you're watching it through your fingers of like this horror.
This bothered me so much. I was so infuriated. But I guess it's consistent with this idiot of a character. Like, why would he just like plug into this like what he assumes is water
Because
without
he gave
testing
he
it or
gave
anything?
an explanation. Oh, they always kept a clean water supply on the roof. Now, may we remind
Which
you,
he
young
was
man,
right about.
But may we remind you, young man, that the reason you heard of this building is because you were sitting in a board meeting where they were talking about condemned buildings
I
that
know,
were
right?
potentially contaminating.
But his father calls that out in the following
Yeah.
episode, where he's just like, he didn't listen. If he'd paid an ounce of attention
See, that's what I
to the family
enjoyed all
business.
that. And I also love the fact that he's like setting up this like orgy and invites his sister-in-law. Like that was all really fun.
Yeah.
We're loving Elliot from E.T. is back in this. He was in The Haunting of Hill House as well. He's the kind of foolish older brother. So I love that his wife went along and he kind of seemed really clueless when she was going out and stuff. And then it's just that whole sequence where the woman comes through and she's got the mask on and the whole orgy's happening, and he's like building up to this moment where he turns on the sprinklers, which even if they weren't filled with acid, I don't actually think is the vibe people are looking for in like a dirty old warehouse.
But it'd be so slippy. Imagine the health and safety issues.
It would just be filthy, like it would be horrible even if it hadn't been acid.
But Kathy, what you're describing to me is the reality of what an orgy would be like. It would just be filthy and horrible.
Well,
I'm sure it sounds great in theory.
I'd like
but
to
like,
I'd
no
like to
thanks.
think I'd be
Ugh.
in like a clean space and not in a dirty old warehouse. Like
Yeah, I know,
like
right?
how do they clean it up so quickly? It can't have been that clean. And then they're also stupid, they don't spot that there's bloody cameras filming them.
And they're so obvious, because when Mark Hamill goes in
He
the
just
next
sees
episode,
them.
he's just like, yep, camera, there,
I
camera.
love how the
yeah.
son, though, in fairness to him, was actually like, this is the real money maker, I'm filming them and I'm going to blackmail them. So they showed him to be a bit cleverer than
Yeah.
what we thought he was.
Yeah.
And particularly,
And all his
though,
guests
he
to
was
be
go-
not clever
He
at
was
all.
going to be blackmailing the wife in particular, the brother, whose wife he'd invited, which did feel a bit mean.
But then you can't really blackmail someone if they're wearing a mask.
And then I think you could prove it's them though. And then the kind of ghost lady, we think she might be the devil, shows up and she's like, it's always sweetest the moment before you get it. And then I just love how they framed the orgy shot, how they're all looking up at the ceiling, how his face is in like ecstasy. And then the tap comes on and it's just acid. Like, it was sick.
It was really sick.
So
Very, very memorable,
sick.
very twisted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so good. On to the next death. Who died next? The sister, the PR sister.
The PR sister,
Love
yeah.
her.
So she dies
She's
in the
been
monkey
in all
attack.
of them. Did you say she's married
She's
to
Mike
him?
Flanagan's wife.
She's
Yeah.
brilliant.
So let's comment quickly on the fact that he's doing the Ryan Murphy American Horror Story thing where you've got your troupe of actors and they're just playing different roles each time.
So he does bring in
And
some fresh ones.
He always brings in a few fresh, but but for the most part, this is a mixture of the cast of Haunting a Hill House, Midnight
all the
Mass,
4 shows we mentioned.
the Midnight Club.
And the Blind Manor.
What do you think about that approach, and do you think it kind of works here?
I love it. I think it's really fun. And he brings in new ones as well, like Mark Hamill. That's unreal. And he's really good in this.
He's
and
really fun in
freaky.
this.
And I don't think we've seen, or maybe we have seen all the kids before because I never finished Blind Manor or the other one. But
all the kids. Oh yeah, no, they're all in other stuff.
I actually like that approach. I think it's a bit of fun once you mix it up a bit and bring new ones in as well. But what I also like is that, say, the character, the blonde pure girl, she's completely different in the other shows, so he's not using them in the same way. And then the main woman who's playing the kind of devil witch character.
Yeah, she was the mom in Hill House, wasn't she? Yeah.
Fair play to her. She's like in full Jessica Fletcher mode. Every person she meets, she's in a different costume, has a different accent.
Yeah.
She's like so unnecessarily disguising herself that I love all that stuff.
I think all these shows are like an actor's dream because it's all scenery chewing over the top campy characters.
She got to be a monkey. Like when she goes into the lab. And
she was good in that.
She kind of claims
she was creepy.
It kind of gives the impression that she's always like, "I'll warn you before I'm going to kill you. Just see if you're a good person."
Yeah, she says you shouldn't be here.
But
you
she did say
there.
she did then say to her, "Oh, I would have done it nicely in your sleep, but now I'm doing it this way." So the implication is she's still going to kill them.
Anyway. Yeah,
but she's kind of giving them a chance. But she's not really giving them a chance. Like all she said to the young guy was, "Oh, are you sure you want to go ahead? It's not too late. For what?" Like there was
he doesn't know because he's so stupid.
Whereas the blonde one, in fairness, she's like, "You shouldn't be going in there. That's a bit more of a moral test."
Yeah.
Whereas your man was already there having his orgy. Why was he not going in on the sprinklers?
She didn't really give the cat guy
She didn't give him any
much of a chance, except to say that one's not for sale. But like
he's rich. Anything's for sale.
So I guess what was her lesson there? But it was like, no, you shouldn't just use your influence and your money to.
But it's not really like.
It's not really much of a test.
But the murder in the lab, that was still freaky. But I think the first murder was so good that my murder expectations are high.
It was so elaborate and over the top. I mean, it's going to be hard to top that.
Yeah, but when she then was inside a monkey attacking her, so she seems to like possess animals and stuff as well.
I thought that was a really cool shot where she picks up her phone to take a picture of her and it's the monkey. It was just like good scare. He's got to, like he knows
so
horror
good.
Inside out. He makes very effective scares. Now we should say he's got a number of other directors working on this with him, but the tone is consistent throughout.
But the family dynamic is what's so totally outside of the horror stuff. The family dynamic's brilliant. The money stuff's brilliant. Like I think this is really flexing. This is stretching beyond horror. Like this is also like it's so.
But that's why Mike Flanagan
good.
Is so good with all his work, because he puts a lot of work into the writing and the dialogue. And all the characters get really juicy, interesting monologues. Like Bruce Greenwood's monologue in episode 4 about the lemons.
Oh, that was so
It's so fun. And now it's very, quote unquote, written. But the writing is so sharp and so incisive and so funny. You make lemon a new adjective for describing cool, and it's like.
And then at the very end he goes, and after all that, you can make lemonade.
Yeah. So
it
good.
was so good. And I think what the central mystery that you reference in the show that's fascinating for us is we're watching him as a young man. Seems quite a moralistic character. We're watching him slowly be corrupted, but we don't know at what point. And his sister's awesome as well. And all that weird shit that happened in the first episode with their mom. Like, let's not forget that.
I mean, that was so creepy.
That was so creepy. And him and the sister have, I don't know what they've done. We think they've like made a pact with the devil or something for their success.
Yeah, it's definitely a Faustian
But
pact.
he doesn't, at the end of episode 4, they still don't seem to realise, in the 2 weeks ago bit, they still don't seem to realise that whatever deal they made is finally being
Well, we don't know.
Whatever
As
cash they've written has finally been checked. Like, wait,
what-
no, whatever check they've written has finally been cashed.
what we know is that the brother and sister, Madeline and what's his name of the Usher family, they are both now aware that she is there.
But they don't
They-
seem to quite recognise her yet.
No, they do. We've seen her. He recognizes her. He has that moment. Do you remember they get that such a funny scene?
It was so funny
with
with
Mark
Mark
Hamill,
Hamill,
where he
yeah.
kept saying "enhance." I mean, that's the other thing we should say. This show is laugh out loud
Yeah,
funny.
we were
like,
properly laughing
it's
at that.
really funny. But he does get an enhanced photo, and they both recognize her. Madeline, the aunt, goes to a specific venue, which I think might be the pub they visited
think
when they
so.
first saw her in the flashback, and looks at it significantly. He's looking at her and looking at a wall. Now, what's confusing is that they later see each other about his health issues and don't discuss it.
That's what confused me. That made me they hadn't put the threads together.
But they've seen her face and they're thinking about her. And then he had some.
But they're probably thinking. But you're probably, if you're like, okay, we're watching it now, but like, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's the woman we met in the 70s. She hasn't changed at all.
Yeah.
Like they might both be like, I recognise her, but I don't know where from.
But we don't know how that ends. That scene. So I think that sort of flashback stuff. So I think
Yeah.
she comes back and is a significant person.
We need, and this is another really good thing he did in Haunting of Hill House. He's brilliant at flashbacks. Like brilliant.
They're all woven together really well.
Woven together
Do you know,
so well.
Do you know what's also really good about the show is that there's so much going on, but it all kind of there's a real sense of momentum with it.
100%.
They all
yeah.
kind of weave in and out very well.
It's a very rich show. There's always something happening. I think that's why we're so invested in continue to watch it. The final death we've seen so far of the siblings is the older kind of English brother who's like supposedly the video game creator, and all that stuff that happens with him, and the cat loved it.
Yeah, really
so
fun.
Good. Pure horror.
Well, I gotta say, I didn't look much into the sort of background of the show. I was vaguely aware that it was adapted from a short story from Edgar Allan Poe, but when I looked at the next episode title on Netflix, it was called The Telltale Heart, which I am aware is an Edgar Allan Poe short story, and only then I realised all the episodes are named after Edgar Allan Poe short stories. And
Which
they
is
all
really
seem to,
interesting.
which is really interesting.
Because
So
I
he-
thought it was just based on the house. Oh,
so
shit.
did I, but he seems to have adapted that as the framework, that whatever that story is, Fall of the House of Usher, it's literally the title, and then each of these sort of deaths is an
They're different,
adaptation
though.
of a specific short story.
Clever.
I mean,
gonna
that's
read
very
them.
clever.
I am reading them all when we finish this series. It has to be the sister, then the heart surgeon scientist sister next time. I mean, she's doing something so unethical. She's doing human, like she's coming from a good place, but she's doing it and she knows it's wrong.
Yeah.
So she's basically, to her mind, enlisting this poor ill woman, and like I guess going to put something really dodgy on her heart. But like then it's
But
interesting.
she knows it's not ready for human trials.
She knows,
She
but she
deserves
doesn't
what's
know.
coming to her.
But she doesn't seem to know that her dad has vascular dementia, and it's like his race against time, and that's why he's pushing it so much. So that's all fascinating. I love how remember they said the blonde one was the cleverer sister, and how she got her. By the way, sorry, all of their sexual relationships are so fucked up. She's got her
Yeah.
her boy and girl PAs who slash.
But she
sex
had
objects
them
who-
sign consent forms. I don't think that's even
It's not legal because
illegal.
consent can be revoked at any time.
Exactly, that doesn't make any sense.
But the NDAs I guess would hold up. But the fact that she made them both wear uniforms, and like when she said I'm gonna starfish and if I don't come twice,
That's so funny.
But basically, someone said she's the cleverest, and she figured out via them by sending the right people and asking the right questions, I guess, that the sister was like kind of dropping bodies on the monkey side. So she was really coming at that sister, and there's like a kind of feud that they've talked about.
Yeah.
But there's just so much good stuff going on. I just can't wait to see any more. I'm loving the red-haired sisters plot. So the two legitimate ones, they call all the other ones the bastards. I love that that really weird thing where she makes her husband have like fake dinners with escorts, and then she like watches them.
Yeah.
And like I don't think the husband gets to have sex
And she's
with the
she's
escorts.
getting off on it.
The husband
as far as we
has to have dinner with them.
as far as we can tell, they just have dinner and they role play like a perfect married couple's evening, and
even-
that's what she gets
and
off
then
on.
the devil one comes in and she's
It's really
like,
interesting.
I've had such a day. She's like the best actress of all time. I was like, something should be ringing alarm bells for them. She even talks about like grieving her brother. Side note, I love how when the siblings die, none of the other siblings care.
Yeah.
They're just like, ugh.
But they all hate each other.
And then they're trying to make the English guy read out the press statement. And he reads it
Oh,
out
that
and
was
it goes,
so funny.
we are very saddened to announce the death of our sister, aged 35.
So funny.
Who would say
But
this?
that was a funny bit of writing, but he sold it so well.
Yeah.
Because he's
really good.
He played. He was one of the few of them who actually had any emotion and empathy.
Yeah.
I think he was the only one who was upset when Prospero died.
He was friends with Prospero.
He was the only one. He was really.
The scene where he gave Prospero
really shook
Viagra
by
was
his
very
sister
fun
dying.
as well.
Yeah.
And we'd seen him and his sister hanging out the night before in the sofa, so we knew he had relationships with those two. I think it's going in order of age. So I think that Prospero was the youngest, then the blondie one.
Oh, maybe,
then it would
yeah.
be the heart surgeon. Oh no, sorry, then the English guy, then I think the heart surgeon, then the red-haired one, then finally Elliot from
Yeah,
E.T.
you're
That's my
right.
theory.
Yeah.
Elliot from E.T.'s wife, by the way, horrific.
Oh, awful
But then the
stuff.
scene was so funny when he was trying to get her fingerprint and the facial.
He's plays comedy really well as well.
He's
like,
really good. He's very camp in this
Yeah.
one. He's very different from in The Haunting of Hill House. And then I think the whole mystery of like what is the dad signed up for and like what is going on. He keeps talking about how his sister's in the basement in the present. I'm horrified.
something creepy's down there.
It was so
Yeah.
good the first time when he said my mom's right behind you and your man refused to turn around and then we saw her move out of
Oh,
the
that
way.
was so good. And now he's done that trick before, but it's a very effective
Very
trick.
effective, yeah.
The other thing that's happening in that scene with the Bruce Greenwood and the investigator or the fraud guy is he keeps getting texts from his granddaughter. He claims they're from his granddaughter. Right?
I forgot that.
He
Yeah.
it's very specific. He keeps getting texts, and Augie or whatever he's called keeps saying, "Do you need to get that? Do you need to talk to your granddaughter?" And he keeps saying, "No, it's fine." So I think he's deliberately invited him here for a purpose. I think that the drink seems quite significant as well. That
Yeah.
he gets the $1 million drink. I think he's maybe poisoned. He's planning to take his own life, and he's taking Augie with him, perhaps. But then he seems to kind of respect him.
Well,
I don't know.
I feel like
he's planning something. He's receiving very specific texts.
on some level it's like he's acknowledging that he's gone down a wrong path because and when we see him as a young guy, like he does at one point try and rail against the kind of the forgeries or whatever, but then on the other hand he takes great glee in being super evil. Like he offered $50 million bounty on his own kids.
He probably only is confessing because he knows that this guy's about to die. Do you know that's potentially another...
Or also at this point though, and it's a fascinating thing to learn in the first episode, but like all of his kids died over the period of 2 weeks. Like that is some intro to a character. Like he's nothing left to live for. We also meet his wife, which is so disturbing in that he deliberately married her because she's the person who has ingested more and still alive of his drug than anyone else ever has. And then he even says,
go on.
she says, "Oh, I'm going to cut down on it," and he's like, "Don't."
Well, I was thinking about this. This is because at first I was like, I don't really get what's going on here. Like, why did he marry a 20-something Dublin amputee? It's so specific.
It's so
you know?
specific.
Now
yeah.
she is also in one of the Midnight Mass.
And she's
the
good.
Midnight Club show. She's a great actor.
Yeah, but there was no context for it.
Yeah, and
not
that's
what
like
we were
I don't
expecting.
understand, and they don't give you any background really, except that. But then it all starts to make sense. And then I realized she's a trophy wife, but not in the way of a traditional old white rich dude would have a beautiful blonde trophy wife. It's like she's a trophy in that she is literally the example of the success of his drug.
Yeah, what his original dream was.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, you're living pain free.
So she's his trophy in that regard.
And
right?
but it's so sad because I think his very first vision of the drug, it did become, because he was like, that wasn't my drug, that wasn't me. Like it became what he didn't want. But now he's more evil than ever. I love when we see his old mentor / boss / whatever the hell he was giving this really big speech, and we realize that that's the same speech he had given his kids like half an episode
so
ago. The writing is just so
No, it's the same episode.
No, but it'd have been like half an episode beforehand. They weren't like back-to-back scenes.
Oh, sure. Yes,
it was only as the boss was talking, we were like, oh, we've heard all this recently.
Yeah.
God, there's just so much to talk about with this show. I can't wait to hear what our listeners think. They're going to love it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Also, that guy is a Battlestar Galactica alumni, along with Madeline, the aunt.
Madeline, the aunt, is very sinister now, but also I love that our dynamic with her and his first wife in the past. I think she's gonna kill the first wife or something.
Yeah, for sure.
The first wife also did outright say, "I don't like your sister," which is like
And Madeline
pretty hardcore
knows
gauntlet.
that it is going to kill her to allow him to unlock his full
But
potential.
they're not evil yet, though. Where we still are in the past, in like the 70s or wherever it is. He's still with the first wife. He's got a happy family life. He like reads poetry to her. Like Madeline doesn't seem evil yet. Madeline just wants to make sure he gets his just desserts around what they foresee as they see his inheritance being.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just fascinating. So I both can't wait. Even though we're at the end, it's so clever that we're going back to 2 different time periods, and we've a present, but we're both dying to know what happens in both of the 2 previous periods.
Yeah.
It's so clever. Like, could you imagine how hard it is to write this stuff?
It's very clever.
Yeah.
It's very well structured, very well thought out. But I also got to call out just the strength of the dialogue and the tone, how it can just like so deftly be really creepy and horrifying one minute and gross and then laugh out loud funny the next.
So clever.
So
I love it.
yeah,
I love
it's
all
a
the
lot of
dynamics.
fun. It's really fun.
I think though, I just think it might have peaked at the first guy's death in terms of
in terms of the ingeniousness of
how
the death.
visual it was.
Yeah, sure.
Like it
Yeah.
looked incredible. But that being said, I really enjoyed all the cat shenanigans of the cat, like leaving all this stuff under his pillow, jumping
Oh, it
out
was
at
brilliant.
him, scratching his eye. Like that was all
I
fantastic.
just love the idea of him knocking these walls down with Thor's hammer as well.
I think the end is going to be insane when we're just watching all the dead siblings like lurching around the house. Like the dad seems to have had always a gift to see dead people, and the sister, because they both saw their mom when she was dead as well.
Did they?
Yeah, the mom was dead, wasn't she? They buried her and everything, and then she came up again.
I thought the implication there was that she wasn't dead. They thought she was dead.
Right.
They buried her alive.
But he definitely sees dead people. And then at the very,
Maybe
very
I'm wrong.
beginning, we see him at the last funeral, and he's definitely seeing your one, the mom from Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah,
He
but
was
that's
like
in the
the
midst
lady.
of his, quote unquote hallucinations.
Yeah.
So
that's
I mean,
true.
the show with the ghost stuff is implying that could all be in his head, but then there is some genuinely supernatural stuff happening with the mysterious lady, who is just flitting in and out of.
She still hasn't met Elliot from ET yet.
I mean, she turned into a monkey. We saw that, so there is a
and she
supernatural.
was, I think, a cat. The Elliot from ET, we've yet to see her meet him, so I can't wait to see how that goes down.
Yeah.
So good. Anyway, we shall be back when we finish the series.
Yes, lots of fun. Let us know what you think if you're halfway through, or maybe you've finished it at this stage.
Yeah, and we shall be back
and
with
we'll come
another
back and
episode.
we'll do another episode finishing it off. But lots of fun. Keen to hear what you guys think. Chat to us in the comments. Bye.
And don't forget, if you want to listen to the next part, head over to patreon.com/thecinema.